Oh boy. There we go. What is up, party people? Who is ready to scum? We are finally back on a Sunday scum day. God's day. Ladoria, thank you for joining my membership. Meridia says, Kicker's so happy to be back scumming. Me too. It feels good. And for anybody who's not in my membership, this is my new office. As you can see, I can stand, which is so exciting. And I can also sit, but we'll do that later when we read. I thought we could just hang out and chat for a little bit. And I know some people that wanted to catch this live can't come for a little bit, so we could just chat before we jump into reading. Kenzie, thank you so much for your donation. Oh my god. Hello, bestie. Just came home from Mama Kintai's B-Day dinner. Oh my god, happy birthday to your mom. And a fun stream of Repo with Kate. Nice! Oh my god, I've only played it once, but the one time I did play it was really fun. Kate, Steph, and Chloe. Oh, awesome. I have a bit of a headache, but just want to say hi. Oh, I hope your headache goes away. That's awful, but hello, Kenzie. Broccoli Fox says, Kicker's Cat King era has started. Yes, I put these on because I have two identical pairs of headphones, and this one lets me know which one is which. Kicker must stand. Yes, Stitch did not enjoy standing. We tried to stand. I was like, look, we can stand for the beginning of our member stream. And Stitch was like, why the hell would we stand? But I'm like, you can see my pants. Also, it's so much easier to show you guys. Oh, look at this baby. Oh my goodness. Oh, listen to her groans. She had a lot to say. I love you. Oh, I put you back down right where you were. There you go. Dog stream. Yep. That was Lexi. And Sketch, thank you so much for your donation, Sketch. I really appreciate that. Someday Scum Day. I know, I've been looking forward to this. I actually reread the previous chapter because I forgot what the hell was happening. And I still am I'm unsure what, like, we're doing in the book right now. Because the last thing that happened was, oh my god, Kate, thank you for your donation. Scum Day donation because I missed my man, Lochinga. Yes, I miss him too. At the Danmei meetup at the con I was at last weekend, there was a really good Lochinga cosplayer. I was too nervous to go up to them, but that was cool to see in the wild. My Shayla. Who is that handsome fella? That is Lexi, my baby girl. Master Ash, thank you for your donation. Yay, happy Scum Day. Perfect timing too. Just started exploring Tutorials in P3 Reload. Love the background noise. Hope you're having a good day. Oh, thank you so much. I'm having a great day. This morning I went to the gym and then I came home and Stitch and I filmed the video for the Danmei Book Club Fish Book 4 and I cried at the end. The final little thing that Stitch said to cap off the whole video, the whole book review, it made me actually cry. I'm like, out of all these Danmei book reviews, is it really the fish preg book that made me cry? But the fish book, it's like, you know, everybody kind of memes on it, but it's a really good romantic story. Like, it's a good book. It's not just like shitty yaoi, you know what I mean? Like, it's a really good story. It has a very funny premise and funny stuff that happens in it, but it's good. Oh, Kenzie says, I took my ring to the jeweler today and it feels sad not having an engagement ring. I'm not currently working on wedding Pinterest planning. Very nice. Did you need to get it resized? Yes, Stitch and I got engaged. I'm sorry for scaring anybody in the recent TikTok video where I said she was my ex-girlfriend. That's definitely gonna be a bit for a while. Sketch, thank you for another donation, Sketch. Oh my god. Hope you and chat are all doing well. I forgot to actually type the message. Oh, thank you so much. Yes, we're doing good. I hope you all in the chat are doing good too. And Acid Pawns has been a Supreme member for 1 month. Thank you so much. Congrats on getting engaged. Thank you. JT Joyful, yo dude, what's up? Hello, was playing Pathfinder with friends last Friday, so I did not attend the membership, but I is here now. I was looking for you. Glad that you're here though. And Gabby Go says, I'm finally made it to a live stream. Welcome. Orion, thank you for your donation. I just finished Monozushi and am now an MXTX completionist. Ooh, you should get a little reward for that. Finally, I know all the guys. Yes, I know. I'm such a fake fan. I don't know all the Scum villain guys yet, but I'm getting there. We're learning there. We're learning and we're growing together. Kate says, I can't wait for Kictor to realize how lol Bingha coded she is with Stitch. Kate, I saw your comment about that on our most recent video, and I was like, look, can't I be Hua Chung? We waited so long to be together. Why am I Bingha? I'm not that much of a crybaby, am I? That one meme, though, that we reacted to, the like, you scooted away from me in bed. Do you hate me? That was accurate. Cup Noodle Cat has been a member for 3 months. Thank you so much. I'm so excited for this chapter, the Mausoleum. Yes. Oh, I'm very excited. Yeah, to recap, what happened is they encountered Bingha's dad and the snake guy, and they're trying to escape the mausoleum. Oh, were they trying to get the magic pill or something, or the cure or something in there? Like, what were they actually doing? And Bingha's in like his deep sleep coma, and they were in the coffin. If someone else wants to write a better summary, please do. Anna, I was thinking of you today because Stitch just finished reading the Green Yuri book, the first volume. I just bought her that, and she told me what it was all about, and I would love to read it as well. Maybe we could do a little video review on that too. Lily, thank you for being a member for 28 months. Oh my goodness. I can't stay long, but I wanted to show up again. Oh, thank you so much. Your support is everything. I really appreciate it. For 28 months, that's incredible. Thank you so much. Kate says, the only character we really need to know in Motozushi is Jinling's uncle. Yes. And Orion has been a member for 3 months. Thank you so much, Orion. You can be Omega, Hua-Chung. Ah! I'm not in the Omega chair, okay? I'm standing. Isn't that like a very alpha thing to do? Oh, I missed some donations here. Shadow Dancer, thank you so much for your donation. Just got out of my anime con, made it to my room just as the stream started. Nice, perfect timing. I got so much TGCF merch official. Ooh, very nice. Excited to scum. Fantastic. Wow, it sounds like a perfect day. Getting official merch is very exciting. I went to a small con yesterday and got some more fan merch. And Guang Hui has been a member for 3 months and says, best 3 months, love y'all, congrats, package sent. Oh, yes, I gotta check my P.O. box this week. It's been absolutely crazy moving, but finally things are settling down. We've been opening boxes, been able to decorate a little bit. As you can see, I actually have some open shelves here, but that's because certain boxes with certain display items have not been opened yet. But I'm excited to go to my P.O. box. Thank you so much. And Nova Stargirl 67 has just become a member. Thank you so much. Welcome to Martial God. I really appreciate that. Every Friday at 7 p.m. PST, we do Danmei Game Night, where we hang out, we talk about Danmei boys, we talk about ships, we talk about characters. It's just so much fun. The community there is really an incredible group of people. And then we usually play a game like Frantic Fanfic or Gartic Phone, and it's like all Danmei prompts. And I also want to make more games like Danmei Jeopardy or Danmei Family Feud and set up stuff like that. But we've been doing this for a long while now, and it's the best way to help support my channel. And yeah, I just really appreciate a lot of the members have actually become real friends of mine. It's super cool to get to actually hang out with you guys every Friday. Kenzie says, I saw your video of your lemon loaf tea. Yes, Kenzie brought us lemon loaf tea, and it was delightful. It was really good. It really tasted even like there was like sugar in it when there was nothing in it. It's just damn good. And thank you for your donation, Kenzie. And CSZL, thank you for your donation. Oh my goodness. I really appreciate that. Thank you. And, oh, a recap. Okay, Shizen died. He got better. Met Bingha's dad. That was worse. Bingha stepped up to protect his wife and got his butt kicked. Coffin times. And forehead kiss, but now old palace master is a stick. Yes! Yes, the old palace master was just wheeled in. Tina sent one Kichter gift membership. Thank you so much for doing that. I really appreciate it. And Ami has become a member. Thank you so much. Valessa said, loved seeing you in Seattle. I hope the coasters serve you well. Yes, dude, thank you so much. That was so cool getting to hang out with you in LionCon. But that was awesome, actually having a moment to chat. And thank you so much for all of your gifts. That was just so awesome. And Emma sent 5 memberships. Oh my god, thank you so much, Emma. That's incredible. Thank you so much. Emma this morning was showing me how to order on Taobao because there are these official Lan Wangji and Wei Wuxian costume glasses, and I think that they look so cool. I'm like, I think I could kind of look kind of good in some glasses. You know, to like look like Stitch. Who wouldn't want to look like Stitch? They were there because Shizen was put back into his original body by Lo Bingha's dad. While Lo Bingha was trying to get his Shizen back from his dad, he didn't know he had. Yes. Oh, thank you for taking care of us, Kenzie. Kate says member streams are actually the best. It's really fun getting to play the drawing games because, you know, I'm not that good at drawing, but I try. But there are some fucking incredible artists in the game, so it's like you get a mix of like funny meme stuff and like genuinely really, really nicely drawn stuff like Kate's art. There was something about Black Moon rhinoceroses. Yes, Black Moon rhinoceros pythons, they helped break in, I think. Tiffany, thank you for your donation. Congrats on your engagement, Kichter. I love your channel and appreciate that I can feel not so alone in my love of Danmei. Oh, hell yeah! You're not alone. You've got me, you've got Stitch, you've got Lex, who's on the ground. She loves Danmei. Can't get her to stop reading. It's a problem, actually. But yeah, no, you're not alone. There's lots of people here to help celebrate and talk about some of your favorite characters and ships. And I also really like something I feel like about this community, like my community specifically, is I don't want anybody to ever feel bad about asking a question, because I forget shit all the time and I get confused with stuff all the time. And the worst feeling ever is when you're really passionate about something and you have a question and then you feel too nervous to ask that question. And I feel like here in this chat, if you do have a question, like you forgot something or you're confused about something, as long as it's not a spoiler for something that's currently being released in English, everybody will treat you with respect. No one will treat you like it's a dumb question. If anyone ever says any snark back to a honest to God question, they're out of here. And that's from my trauma of existing on Twitter for the past 6 years in the TGCF community. And if someone does accidentally spoil something as well, try not to be mean about it either. I'm sure they didn't mean to. If someone comes in here and starts throwing in spoilers, like, we'll kick them out as well. But most of the times I think people are just kind of excited about something, and then if they do say a spoiler, it's kind of like a, oh, careful! You know what I mean? Not like a, get out! But yeah. I've been seeing a lot more, like, spoilers about the last couple of books of TGCF, and I'm just like, wow, the whole book series has actually been out for a while now. And I know people have different opinions on, like, if, when it is okay to say something that is a spoiler. Like, some people believe it's never okay to say a spoiler, and other people believe, well, it's been out for a year now, so if you haven't read it, it's your fault. I think just treat everybody with respect, and just have a happy, good, excited vibe, and we will all get along and be friends. Broccoli Fox says, I'm honestly glad you're a very welcoming and kind person. It helps with the comfortability of the streams, but also wanting to stick around. Oh, I'm glad that you feel that way. I feel that way about the chat as well. It's because of you guys being so welcoming and nice to me. as I ask all my dumb questions. Kenzie says, when will I get you to do a lads stream? Oh my god, I was considering doing that. I got quite a over the last couple weeks I've been getting quite the rundown on lads, and my interest is piqued for sure. I would like to set that up. Orion says, I do love the Kichter gang. It's very nice in here. I'm glad. Esper Lady, how are you doing, Esper Lady? Oh my god, I know. Arha spoilers are like my main thing. I'm like, ah! Like, there's people on Twitter saying some spoilers right now, and I'm like, oh, I'm so close. We're so close. And I feel like there's still so many reveals. Tiffany says, this is my first stream, but I do feel that Kichter and the people, I hope that sentence was gonna say, are cool. Here are nice. Yay! Broccoli Fox says, I feel like I often veer a bit into being mean, especially towards you. Then I feel bad. Obligatory sorry. Oh, there's a big difference between, like, just joking around and teasing me to, like, being like, you're an idiot, you know? So, especially if people are regulars or members, I always have the benefit of the doubt that you guys are just joking around. Eli says, I once tried to spoil Arha for myself, and Google AI told me the main villain was Sanlong, so I decided I didn't get to know any spoilers. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Brock, sorry, Kichter. Exactly. Diana Williams has been a member for 29 months. Thank you so much. That is incredible. I really appreciate that. Glad to have a new Scum reading. Yes! Is Jessica here by any chance? Jessica M? Oh, Maple Rosie says, I have class in 4 minutes, but happy to catch you live. Happy to catch you before class. Yesterday, actually, I got recognized at the con I was at yesterday, and let me see if I can find it. A really cool person gave me this Bingha sticker. Oh, look at my new setup too. Boom. Isn't that cool? He's crying. Just like that, with a foot pedal, I can switch camera angles to show you my hands. Instead of, like, always trying to awkwardly hold it up to the camera and, like, the lighting is just awful. I have a foot pedal. Isn't that so cool? I'm, like, geeking out about the stream stuff. The broken heart symbol. Oh my god, I didn't even notice that. That's so funny. It is a little broken heart. I also got this art. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? I also like how it's subtle. Like, you can't really tell exactly what it is unless you know. You know? Unless you know, you know? I thought that was really cool. And I got this beautiful Hualian art from another artist that said that they recognized me. So that was so cool. This is just like I love the colors of this. So yeah, you could say I had a good time at the convention. Kenzie says, oh, do I have a favorite man so far? Probably Silas, I guess. I feel like, how could you not think Silas is hot? But also, Caleb, I think. Espalada said, so glad you had a good time. Thank you. Yeah, it was awesome. I didn't cosplay. I love cosplaying, but sometimes it's just like, it's a lot of work and it can be like kind of overstimulating. Like, it can be a lot in like a packed convention. So I was just like, I just want to wear like a cool outfit. Because I kind of have a lot of subtle merch that I don't wear out often either. Like, I usually don't carry around a purse, but I have some cool fandom purses. So that's kind of an opportunity to accessorize more than I usually do. So I did not cosplay, but Stitch was Mao Mao, and she was gorgeous. And this girl came up to her and was just like, "You are so pretty." And I was like, yes, exactly. You get it. She was really, really pretty. There were a couple other Mao Maos there. And I did get shamed a couple times, being like, "Why are you not Jinshi?" I was like, oh my god. Annika said, "Stitch looks so good as Mao Mao." Oh yeah, she did. She's so beautiful. Stitch is a true shapeshifter. Hell yeah, Stitch appreciation time. Stitch is an absolute artist. She is. She's gorgeous. Compliment my soon-to-be wife. It fuels me. Yes. Maple Rosie says, "You would make a great Jinji, to be fair." Oh my goodness gracious. It's the long Danmei wigs on the back of my neck. It just instantly overheats me. Tiffany says, "I want to go to a con so bad, but I don't have anyone to go with. But Stitch looked adorable as Mao Mao." Oh, I can only understand how awful that would be. Like, when you are alone in a fandom. In high school, I didn't have any friends that were into anime and stuff like that in real life. So I never went to any cons or anything. I was definitely, like, in the white girl fandom in high school, like, wearing Uggs and getting Starbucks at lunch. That was the culture. It was not anime. I one time asked a girl on my basketball team, because I found out she watched Kuroko no Basket, who she shipped Kuroko with, and she looked at me like I was a monster. Or like she did not even consider shipping. It was literally just like, I like basketball, I'm watching a basketball anime. But I hope that you can find a friend or anybody to go to a con with, because it's a lot of fun. Creasenware says, "When long wigs are required, I cheat and add a bunch of small, long braids." Hey, that's a good idea. Anything to get kind of like a off your neck, you know? Broccoli Fox says, "If you ever cosplay Jinji, please wear a frog accessory, like a coin purse or those riveting wooden frog toys." That's a good idea. Yes. Oh my god. Definitely. A frog that lasts more than 4 hours. Kate says, "How do you watch a sports anime and not even consider shipping? It's so gay." I know, right? They liked the basketball anime for the actual basketball? Kenzie, never shut up about it. It is very exciting that we are both engaged. It's such an awesome thing to celebrate. Hey, Jessica is here! Jessica says, "Now she'll actually want to cosplay Genji." Nothing gets me interested in something more than a boner. That's how I got into TGCF after all. Oh my god. Anna says, "The Venn diagram of sports anime and BL is so crossed that it's pretty much just a circle." Right? Literally. The power of the boner. Yes! Boners are very compelling. Kate gets it! Of course Kate gets it. Stitch, are you laughing in the other room? It's always Kate that makes Stitch crack up. Kenzie says, "It makes me so giggly and emo that we are both engaged at the same time." That's so funny. The power of the boner can compel you. It can. It can compel you to read. As it is compelling me right now. I'm like, this is so crazy. I can read and stand right now. This is just crazy. Okay, are we gonna read? Okay, because somebody, oh, right, it's right at 6:30. It's perfect. Somebody leave an actual comment on the video being like, "Reading starts at 6:30, and we're starting on page 82, which is halfway through chapter 16. So this is literally right as the palace guy got wheeled in. Also, if you guys could click like on the stream, that helps with the algorithm, I think. So I'd really appreciate that. All right. Of course, I had to thoroughly investigate Peak Lord Shen to see what sort of extraordinary person you were, but I never expected that instead I would unearth your numerous old affairs. I know your details and background in and out. Who you took as your master, what you did under him, exactly how you became a disciple of Sangchong Mountain. What a colorful tale! Even without the drama, with the sower, you would surely have been sent to the water prison. But who could have expected that fate had other plans, and I needn't have gone to the trouble? So the Huanhua Palace disciples' horrible attitude towards Shen Qingqiu in Jinlan City hadn't been because of Lo Bingha's manipulation, but the old palace master's intentional influence. Shen Qingqiu couldn't resist taking another look at Lo Bingha. If only this child had been more adaptable with his thinking and taken another master, so many problems could have been avoided. But Shen Qingqiu could never resent him for his bull-headed persistence. He could only sigh. The old palace master has looked upon my disciple highly, yet the palace master's 2 sword strikes were clearly directed at him. Your words and actions do not seem to align. Back then was back then. Now things are not as they were, said the old palace master. Peak Lord Shen, please step aside. I do not care what happens to you. I just want this boy to pay for what he's done. If I step aside, the palace master will kill only him and leave me be? Zhou Haitong let out a cold laugh. He'll leave you be, but I'm still here. Oh my god. Her fighting abilities were far inferior to his, and she should have been of no consequence. However, in these circumstances, she presented quite a bit of trouble. That brute turned his back on his benefactors and left me in this state, said the old palace master. I won't rest until I kill him myself. If he really turned his back on his benefactors, Shen Qingqiu said, he wouldn't have spared your life, or that of your daughter. Grass ought to be pulled up by the roots. He understands this better than even you or me. Shen Qingqiu had never in 1,000 years thought that one day he would argue on Lo Bingha's behalf. When he heard those words, the old palace master squawked a cackle. Zhou Haitong tore the blankets from his body. For a few seconds, Shen Qingqiu stopped breathing. Below the blanket, only a uniformly rectangular torso remained. All 4 limbs were gone. The old palace master had been carved into a human stick. The master of a sect was now nestled in a broken-down little cart, filthy and barely human, left with only a head that could turn on its neck. Ew. The downfall of the original Shen Qingqiu had been transferred to the old palace master. Now this was worth holding a grudge over. It wasn't something that could be solved with a few words of persuasion, some chicken soup for the soul, or an appeal to Buddhist compassion. The old palace master let out a cold laugh. It was all your darling disciple's doing. You see, I wish he had pulled up the grass by its roots. Shen Qingqiu fully agreed. Why hadn't he pulled up this grass by its roots? Of these 2 strays, one wanted to kill Lo Bingha and wanted to kill Shen Qingqiu. Zhou Haitong's cultivation was insufficiently powerful, so she had needed someone's assistance. The old palace master was much stronger than her, but he was down on his luck. A starved camel was still larger than a horse, and the old man had once been the leader of a sect. Even though he had lost his limbs and was unable to move freely, his spiritual energy hadn't weakened. This was what they meant with the saying, men and women complete and complement each other, or the blind carrying the lame. Shen Qingqiu snapped the sword blade with his bare hands and tossed it into a nearby brush, his stare fixed on the 2 people poised to attack. In truth, he could make a bet. Even if Lo Bingha's OP abilities were useless against a character like Qianlen Jun, whose data wasn't pulled from the original work, the old palace master was a character grounded within the bounds of the original story. The protagonist's plot armor probably had yet to lose its effect against him. Shen Qingqiu could likely just step back and leave Lo Bingha to his own devices, just like how he had screwed over the Skinner demon in the Shuanghu City plotline. He could let the old palace master hack at Lo Bingha and see who in the end would finish off whom. The old palace master said leisurely, I'll ask again. Will you step aside or not? Shen Qingqiu lowered his arm. The blood that had slowed its steady flow from his palm began to drip once more. The old palace master said himself that he's my darling disciple, he said in an even tone as he lifted his head. Tell me, do you think I'd step aside? There was nothing for it. Now was not the same as then. No matter what, Shen Qingqiu couldn't convince himself to use the protagonist's plot armor, to coldly stand aside and let someone else hack at Lo Bingha, to bet on whether he would live or die. if, at this point, he could still use Lo Bingha and put him in danger like that with a clear conscience, he really would be like the Scum villain of the original novel. The old palace master's eyes suddenly bulged and several shouts exploded from his mouth. He had lost his limbs, so he poured his spiritual energy into his voice to attack. Where is the H? What is the H coming from? H in the chat if you hate the old palace master. That's funny. Yes, H is in the chat. Fuck that guy. Sticks in the chat. With every shout, a powerful spiritual flow swept over Shen Jingzhou like an onslaught of blades, the power of the voice no less than that of a spiritual blast. Grass and foliage thrashed back and forth, leaves flying from trees. Shen Jingzhou used his still bleeding right hand to block a few waves with the sheath of his sword. The tremors caused the wound to explode with agony, but he couldn't switch hands. If he didn't keep holding Lo Bingha in his left arm, he was afraid he'd drop him. Even though the old palace master had been carved into a human stick, his spiritual energy hadn't weakened in the slightest. No wonder Cho Haitong had chosen to rely on him. As Shen Jingzhou thought this, the old palace master suddenly let out a howl. A light cracking sound came from Shuya's sheath, and Shen Jingzhou failed to block the assault. Overcome, Shen Jingzhou toppled backward. As he fell, he turned and used his own body to cushion the fall, not letting Lo Bingha land on the ground, and for his effort was yet again crushed to the point he saw stars. Ooh, he didn't let him fall. The old palace master finally stopped howling, and Cho Haitong slowly pushed him closer. He caught his breath for a while, then looked down at Shen Jingzhou, who still held Lo Bingha. You really do protect him a great deal. You really are pretty gay, aren't you? Cho Haitong clenched her teeth. Fake! It's all fake! This bastard! Who's he putting on a show for? Why not fight back with your spiritual energy? The old palace master asked. Because I've already run dry, of course, Shen Jingzhou replied. Tuft after tuft of white fluff flew past, nearly alighting upon Lo Bingha's deathly pale cheek. Shen Jingzhou blew lightly, and they veered off and away. The H's in the chat were for if you hated the old palace master. Hello, Rarebox. Hello, Mario. The hollering fury suddenly dropped clean away from the old palace master's expression, replaced with a kind of enraptured look. Shen Jingzhou held his tongue. Something was very off about that gaze. The old palace master looked on for a while, bewitched, then sighed. They look most alike when his eyes are closed, or when his expression is cold. The old palace master's stare was palpable as it crawled up and down Lo Bingha's face. If he still had hands, they definitely would have reached out to touch him by now. Shen Jingzhou's stomach turned, and his arms moved unconsciously to pull Lo Bingha's head further into his embrace. Now Lo Bingha was resting intimately against his body. Oh my god. And even his head leaned upon Shen Jingzhou's chest. Caitlin, thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships. That is so kind of you. Thank you so much. Old man master pervert. Ugh. Shen Jingzhou said severely, "Take a good look. This is not Su Xinyan." This name woke the old palace master from his daze. "Why wouldn't you listen to my orders?" he spat. "Why wouldn't you just listen to me? Was I not good to you? Didn't you want Huanhua Palace? Didn't you want my seat? I knew you wanted it, ever since you were young. If you just listened to me, what wouldn't I have passed down to you? But one after the next, both of you ingrate spat on everything I gave you. Spat on everything I gave you." Crimson Queen, thank you so much for gifting your membership. I'm so glad to see you here. You said aw at him at one point. I think I was saying aw at Lo Bingha being pulled. Isn't Shen Jingzhou still holding him closer? He snarled curses and rage, pouring every poisonous word in his vocabulary onto Qianlin-Jun and Shen Qingqiu, then roared about ingrates several dozen times in a row before his expression made an abrupt 180, becoming gentle. He said in a parental tone, "Xian, come here. Shizen has something for you. Drink up." The old palace master had sunk in a trance, and saliva dripped from the corner of his lip as Cho Haitong stepped back slightly, disgust evident on her face. Epiphany sparked through Shen Qingqiu, and his stomach turned even more intensely. No wonder the old palace master had always been so good to Lo Bingha, to an almost unsettling extent. No wonder that Su Xian, despite being his most beloved disciple, had held absolutely no attachment to Huanhua Palace and had readily betrayed her sect to run off with a demon youth without ever looking back. This love must not have been much different from molestation, and the old palace master's favorable interest in Lo Bingha was definitely founded in the shade of a former beloved disciple that the sect leader had seen in him. He had extended his perverse possessions of Su Xian to Lo Bingha, deluding himself into thinking he could groom Lo Bingha into an obedient darling child. But looking at him in this crazed state, Shen Qingqiu feared it wouldn't be anything so simple as making Lo Bingha his successor, nor would obedient be relegated to the literal meaning of the word. No wonder Lo Bingha had carved him into a human swine. Ew. Thank you so much, love bunnies. That's so sweet of you. That's gross. We didn't need another reason to hate the old palace master. Shen Qingqiu tenderly holding his husband while whispering, "It's not gay." Yeah. Oh, the awe was in book 1? I don't remember anything about him in book 1, to be honest. Well, now we know. He's fucking disgusting. Shen Qingqiu covered the back of Lo Bingha's head with one hand and pressed Lo Bingha's face into his own chest so that the old palace master couldn't keep fantasizing at him. This really was more than he could bear. Have you had enough? As soon as that visage was hidden from his sight, the old palace master's face immediately collapsed, twitching as if his muscles were seizing, his gaze overflowing with hatred and resentment. He snapped open his mouth, but no sound came from his throat. His eyes bulged, and his entire body seemed to have frozen into a statue carved from stone. Shen Qingqiu held his breath for a moment. Gurgles came from the old palace master's throat, and bloodshot veins crawled up the whites of his eyes, but he couldn't move an inch. "Ha ha 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 ha, it's finally here! You really thought I was some dumbass Mother Teresa who wouldn't know to hit back when attacked? You really thought carrying one person would weaken me to the point that I'd be incapable of slapping your cheek right back?" Cho Haitong was shocked. "What's happening?" She made to draw her sword, but Shen Qingqiu cut in. "Miss Cho, I'll offer you a word of advice. Do not draw your sword, and do not rashly use your spiritual energy, if you don't want to share his fate." Doubtful, Cho Haitong circled around to the old palace master's front and let out a shrill scream. Fresh, fleshy green protrusions had sprouted between the dense wrinkles on the old palace master's aged face. He seemed to be in such intense pain that not only could he not move, he couldn't even speak. Cho Haitong's voice trembled. "Shen Zhou, what have you done?" "Nothing at all," said Shen Qingqiu. "Don't forget, this is someone else's tomb. Did you think the demons would have failed to install protections?" The tufts of white fluff floating in the air like dandelion seeds scattered in the wind were actually a type of demonic plant called ties that bind. This plant sowed its seeds in the bodies of living beings, and they were especially attracted to people who gave off energy. Recklessly deploying one's spiritual or demonic energy attracted these seeds to oneself. That was why Shen Qingqiu had stuck to physical combat as much as possible and avoided using his spiritual energy. I see. How convenient. When ties that bind seeds enter one's flesh, they didn't hurt, only faintly itched. But once they sprouted from the flesh that was their soil and burst forth through the skin, every inch of rent flesh from which they grew erupted in violent agony. Furthermore, the more you used your spiritual energy, the faster they grew. If you went as far as to use a spiritual blast, they would sprout like mad, budding in an instant. This whole time, the old palace master had been attacking with his roars. His spiritual flow had been gathered in his head and throat, and now his face teemed with plump sprouts. The inside of his mouth and throat were certainly also stuffed full of the things. The sprouts' short stalks were covered with thin fuzz and blood vessels, but the roots continued to stretch down beneath the skin, extending until they intertwined with his nerves. Ew. Oh, I mean, he fucking deserves it. Shenchengqiu clicked his tongue. Old palace master, you must not keep yelling and screaming. If the ties that bind proliferate and grow into your brain, there really will be no going back. This scene was both disgusting and horrifying. Cho Haitong covered her mouth and trembled until she could finally bear it no longer. Her eyes rolled back into her head, and she fainted on the spot. One couldn't move an inch, and one was unconscious. TPK! Shenchengqiu let out a sigh of relief. Holding Lo Bingha, he struggled to his feet. Muscled tense, the old palace master slurred out, "Don't celebrate too early, you're no better." Merely saying those few words made his face twist in pain, the sprouts all over his face trembling along with his movement. Shenchengqiu gave him an "ah" in response. A deep, uncontrollable pain crawled up from his right arm to his shoulder. When Shenchengqiu blocked those 2 sword strikes, he had been forced to use spiritual energy, and now he was finally sprouting as well. Oh god. But that was fine. Lo Bingha was safe at last. He's really protecting him, guys. It was very disgusting, but so is he. Yes, exactly. Seeing that Shenchengqiu was going to leave, half carrying, half dragging Lo Bingha along with him, a cry escaped the old palace master's throat. In his urgency, he crashed out of the little cart. He was crashing out, guys. And his limbless body squirmed excruciatingly through the thicket of flowers and grasses covering the ground, scooting forward inch by inch. A terrifying yet pitiful sight. What the fuck? Oh my god. Still got the socks on. It's not gay. That's so funny. Don't go, the old palace master murmured. Don't go. Don't you go. Shenchengqiu fled even faster, but he never expected that the old palace master's eyes would snap open and another roar would explode from his throat. He was going to attack even at the cost of his own life. Shenchengqiu could no longer tell if the old palace master was trying to keep them there or take Lo Bingha's life. He barely managed to block again with his already crackling sheath. The vibration traveled down his right arm, stirring the bloody sprouts just beginning to emerge from it. Gut-wrenching agony tore through him, but he still didn't let go of Lo Bingha. Bolstered by the extreme pain, his fighting spirit climbed, and he glared at the old palace master, murderous intent raging in his eyes. After that yell, quite a number of fleshy sprouts broke once more through the old palace master's skin, some even growing from the corner of his eyes. He seemed unable to even feel pain at this point. As he cackled from fits of laughter, rolling around on the ground like a hunk of pork to Cho Haitong's side, he yelled into her ear, "Aren't you going to kill Shenchengqiu? He's right before your eyes and you're asleep? Get up, kill him, kill them all!" At this yell, Cho Haitong gradually drifted awake to an old face, gnarled like the dried orange peel, inches from her own, one that was furthermore covered in strange growths, pocked densely with bloody holes, and was scared out of her wits on the spot. She screamed and screamed, drawing her sword and flailing it at empty air. Afraid she would rashly call in her spiritual energy and draw the ties that bind seeds to herself as well, Shenchengqiu called out, "Calm down!" Wake up, bestie. Quick, quick, the old palace master squawked. Weren't you always begging for my help? They can't hold on much longer. Do it now. Only when Cho Haitong had Shenchengqiu in front of her field of vision did she come back to her senses, just slightly. Her hands shook, and her eyes were blank. To tell the truth, Shenchengqiu didn't really hold a grudge against Cho Haitong. She was a victim of the original flavor, after all. But if she insisted on blocking their way here, he would have to fight her. But in defiance of all his expectations, Cho Haitong didn't indiscriminately attack like before. She just stared blankly at Shenchengqiu, then at Lo Bingha lying in his arms. Not only did she not advance, she even retreated a few steps. "It's not possible. Not possible," she said, lips trembling. "It's fake. It's all fake. It wasn't my brother. My brother didn't do anything wrong. It couldn't have been him. You're lying." "What's this?" "I didn't know," she sobbed and screamed. "I didn't know it was like that. I didn't do anything at all. So why did I have to suffer for so many years?" Shenchengqiu was shocked. Cho Haitong had been unconscious for only a brief moment. Why was she practically a different person upon waking? Or perhaps it was more like she had seen something she couldn't accept and had been terrified into insanity. Shencheng Cho knew something was up. He said sternly, "Don't thrash about." "What are you waiting for?" the old palace master yelled. Cho Haitong lost her mind and screamed at Shencheng Cho, huddling with her arms over her head. "What exactly did you think of me? Did you hate me? Pity me? Want me to suffer a fate worse than death? Why didn't you kill me? Why didn't you kill me?" Shencheng Cho was completely mystified. Cho Haitong turned and ran. "Come back," he called after her. "Randomly running around the holy mausoleum means certain death." But she had already fled, and he didn't have the time to chase her. Shencheng Cho experienced a strange sense of dejection, or perhaps loss. He didn't know exactly how he felt about this. After a while, he mentally lit a candle for Cho Haitong, then continued on. It's like when you see someone you can't help, it's like, I'm mentally lighting a candle for them. Anyways. Damn. As Cho Haitong had run off and Shencheng Cho was also walking away, the old palace master lost his last thread of hope. He sprawled numbly on the ground, then suddenly dropped his head to chomp on a mouthful of grass and leaves. He chewed and laughed, cackling and guffawing as the fleshy sprouts on his face grew denser and denser, faster and faster, until they blanketed his entire head. Not long later, he could no longer laugh. Shencheng Cho could almost hear the noise of his skull and brain being compressed. Ew. The old palace master's breath came in rough pants before his head thudded heavily to the ground. He would never lift it again. The leader of a sect dying in such a wretched and frightful manner. It really was cause for pity. Pity? More like joy! Before Shencheng Cho had gone very far, an indistinct voice sounded by his ear, as if it was coming from all directions at once. There was a smile in Qianlin Jun's tone. Peak Lord Shen has played such a spectacular game of hide-and-seek. Why don't we guess when we'll meet again? Shencheng Cho rubbed his leg and found his hand covered in foreign matter. Cold sweat poured from his forehead. The ties that bind had already followed his blood vessels down to his leg. Qianlin Jun spoke through the voice-transmitting spell again. "By heading straight east, are you trying to escape the holy mausoleum through that tear in the barrier?" The bastard even knew which way he was going. Shencheng Cho kept his surprise to himself and looked down. Once the ties that bind on his leg fully took root, he wouldn't be able to walk, even if he tried. He clenched his teeth and glanced at Lo Bingha. Steeling himself, he tore open his hem, grabbed a handful of bloody sprouts, and pulled. Ugh! His brain went blank for what he could have been half a minute. A whole chunk of his flesh seemed to have been torn out. Shencheng Cho panted for breath. Only after slowly coming back to his senses did he discover that his breath sounded very much like sobs. He couldn't even wipe his face. He had no way to do so. It really hurt too fucking much. Though his blood was flowing in rivers, at least he could walk now. He had thought Lo Bingha was in a wretched state, but anyone else saw him now, they'd find his condition 120% more wretched. Qianlin Jun knew their location, so he had to be rushing here already. If Shencheng Cho kept going east with Lo Bingha, they'd definitely run headfirst into those two wonderful relatives of his. Miss Rosie, thank you so much for sending a membership, my fellow Danmei stream reader. Thank you so much, Miss Rosie. Hey, you haven't gotten your tattoos yet, right? I saw the ones you sent me, and those look really cool. Hi, Jiggy. After leaving that primeval forest of a tomb hall, Shencheng Cho passed another chamber. He rapidly went in and selected a relatively clean and comfortable stone coffin. Oh my god. And, supporting Lo Bingha's head, carefully settled him inside. When he tested Lo Bingha's forehead with the back of his hand, it was still scalding hot, and the mark in the center of his forehead was growing even redder and brighter. Shencheng Cho placed Shinmo beneath Lo Bingha's hand, calmed himself, then slowly closed the coffin. Another coffin?! Qianlin Jun strolled in front, Zhu Long following close behind. After a turn in the corridor, they found Shencheng Cho, Shuya in hand, standing in the center of a mausoleum hall. He looked at them with a cool gaze, as if he had been waiting for a long time. Half of his teal robes had been dyed scarlet, and fresh blood still dripped down his right hand along the dried traces of old gore. His lips were nearly as pale as his face. Qianlin Jun was shocked. We were separated for a mere moment. How was Peak Lord Shen ended up in such a woeful state? Shen Qingzhou looked back at him. Jinlin had been swallowed by a flaming pillar of magma in the Hall of Fury, yet he didn't smell so much as a single scorched sesame seed. At most, his black robes were a bit singed at the edges. What the hell kind of logic was that? Where is Peak Lord Shen's beloved disciple? Jinlin asked. He left, said Shen Qingzhou. Jinlin smiled. Peak Lord Shen is still here. How could he have left? Shen Qingzhou smiled back. After this exchange of smiles, Jinlin suddenly found himself unable to continue doing so. He had discovered that he couldn't take another step. He looked down. At some point, he had been covered by a layer of super hard crystal clear ice from his feet to his waist, and the ice was still inching up his body. Zhuzhilang's situation was a bit more severe. Both his legs and one of his arms had already been frozen solid. Only now did Jinlin notice that this mausoleum hall was extremely cold. He paused, then said, "The Mobe clan." This mausoleum had been constructed by Mobe Jun's grandfather. Their bloodline was adept at controlling ice. These powers were unrivaled among the demon race, with none their equal, so the power of this hall also revolved around ice magic. The holy mausoleum was filled with settings and props for Shen Qingzhou's use. He didn't need to attack anyone with his own hands. There were plenty of things that could entrap his enemies. Shen Qingzhou had remembered that the original work said that whenever anything warmer than the air in this hall entered, it would be frozen on the spot, turned into an ice statue. After a couple of days, the ice statue would then shatter into shards. Before he came in, he had activated his spiritual meridians to lower his body temperature as far as it could go. That was why his face was so pale. Oh my god, it's Elsa. I know, Jinlin is so funny. I'm excited to see more scenes with him. Elsa was the true Danmei character all along. Elsa alert! Shen Qingzhou is so smart. Even if this ice couldn't keep him frozen forever, it would delay him for at least an hour. So I genuinely wasn't mistaken, Jinlin said. Peak Lord Shen knows my race's forbidden mausoleum practically as well as the back of his hand. Without another word, Shen Qingzhou waved, and he was off in a swirl of robes. Jinlin took a look at Zhujilang and leisurely said, I told you that if you were truly determined to bring Peak Lord Shen to the demon realm, you would have to guarantee that he wouldn't cause trouble. You know what you have to do. This subordinate understands, Zhujilang quietly responded. Upon hearing this exchange, Shen Qingzhou suddenly felt as if he might have forgotten something very important. Zhujilang said, Immortal Master Shen, my apologies. Don't! 1,000 times don't! I ended up in this story state because you wanted to thank me. Will I even be able to get out of this alive if you start apologizing? Just as these thoughts crossed his mind, Shen Qingzhou suddenly swayed even though he had been walking just fine, and he had to brace himself on the stone wall for support. It felt like something was squirming and struggling, surging from his stomach to flood all the veins in his body. This sensation was both familiar and terrifying, and Shen Qingzhou nearly busted out a motherfucker on the spot. Bingha was still sleeping in a coffin, so the stuff wreaking havoc in his body at this moment could only be someone else's blood. Peak Lord, this can't be the first time you've drunk Heavenly Demon's blood. How are you still not accustomed to it? Jinlin asked. Shen Qingzhou forced back the urge to retch. When did you make me drink it? Peak Lord Shen, don't forget, your immortal body was in our hands for no short amount of time. Jinlin replied, his words quite suggestive and teasing both. There's really too much we could have done. Oh my god, stop. No wonder they had determined where he was heading so easily. Shen Qingzhou paused, then continued walking. The more he walked, the sharper the pain in his stomach grew, but he kept going faster and didn't slow down, partly because his pain tolerance had grown, but more so because he knew he absolutely couldn't fall to his knees now. While these two were still frozen, he had the chance to escape. By the time they defrosted, it would be no easy task to stall them again. Though he was clear about the pros and cons here, as he walked faster and faster and Zhujilang spurred the blood into fiercer action, Shen Qingzhou couldn't resist turning to shoot a ferocious glare at him. He said he wanted to repay a kindness, so he was doing it by letting these blood mites nest, lay eggs, and enjoy a family reunion in Shen Qingzhou's stomach? To be able to walk so far, even in this state, Peak Lord Shen must have an iron will, truly an extraordinary person, Jinlin remarked. Or should I say, it's that you're willing to throw even your life away for my son. Or should I say, you're gay for my son! Suddenly, Zhujilang said, My lord, the subordinate can't suppress it anymore. Before he had finished speaking, Shen Qingzhou felt the pain suddenly dissolve and his entire body went light. He immediately broke into a run. Qianlin-jun. Or should I say, gay? As he actually started running, Qianlin-jun was quite surprised. Can't your blood suppress him? Zhuzhilong was greatly confused as well. It could before, but for some reason this time it can't. Shen Qingqiu's ears buzzed. He couldn't hear and his sight was blurred, but knowing he still had to drag Lo Bingha to the entrance and toss him out, he supported himself against the wall and kept jogging. Tripping on something, his figure swayed. After forcing himself to hold on for so long, he was nearing his body's limits and on the verge of collapse. His knees immediately went soft. However, he didn't fall to the ground and found himself caught solidly by someone's arm, then was half supported, half lifted to his feet. With his vision a blur and the world spinning around him, Shen Qingqiu's gaze focused upward. In the murky darkness of the stone corridor, it was impossible to see the person's face, but a pair of eyes burning with fury and a mark shining with scarlet light shone cleanly through the gloom. Qianlin-jun and Zhuzhilong were now frozen from head to toe, two ice sculptures coiled with dark chi standing in the center of the hall. After Lo Bingha strode into the hall, threads of ice-cold white chi scrawled up his black boots, but he mercilessly stomped them to pieces. He slammed a palm into each of the ice sculptures, and cracks sneaked along the surface of the solid ice. It's no use, Shen Qingqiu said, half leaning against the stone wall. Crystallized ice isn't so easy to break after it's formed, and attacking it like that can't harm the ones inside. We might as well take advantage of this opportunity to escape the holy mausoleum while they're sealed. Lo Bingha whipped around and walked towards Shen Qingqiu again. When he had first seen Lo Bingha, Shen Qingqiu had been both surprised and happy. He had planned to go back to the coffin to fetch him, not expecting that he'd wake up himself. He was just about to ask how Lo Bingha was feeling when he realized that Lo Bingha seemed to be furious. Didn't I tell you not to associate with them? Lo Bingha snapped. He spoke in nearly a roar. Shen Qingqiu was already dizzy, and now his eardrums ached at the volume of Lo Bingha's voice. It was like someone had thrown a basin of cold water at his face. After staring blankly for a moment, he suddenly felt an inexplicable flame of anger erupt within his heart. He said dryly, "Are you better now?" "Better? Better how?" Lo Bingha's tone was still unkind. If he was that full of vitality, he was probably fine. That being the case, Shen Qingqiu had managed to repay Lo Bingha at least a little bit. He nodded. That's good. Then he turned, picked a random direction, and walked off. It's giving Shailian a little bit after he had that kiss with Hua Cheng, and it's like he doesn't know what to do afterwards. He's like, ah! It's like he's so relieved Lo Bingha is okay and unwilling to admit anything out loud or be too fucking nice. He's like, okay, glad you're good. Oh, man. Actually, he didn't know where he ought to go. If he wanted to leave the Holy Mausoleum, Shinmo and Lo Bingha were both indispensable. Without either, he could only blindly wander around inside. But he'd staked his damn life to drag Lo Bingha all this way, and had just been yelled at for his troubles, saying there to sulk would be pointless too. Before he'd gotten very far, a last breath candle on the side of the corridor blazed with light, and the dim candlelight illuminated one side of his face. Lo Bingha suddenly reached out and caught his arm. Are you crying? Oh my god. Delicious shizen tears? Shen Qingqiu froze. Was he crying? Was he crying? Not possible! Shen Qingqiu wiped at his cheek with his left hand. This perfectly uninjured hand had kept a firm hold on Lo Bingha the whole time, only now was it free to do other things. As soon as he touched his face, he realized that at some point, tears had indeed streamed down his cheeks. Shen Qingqiu was abruptly aware that these were the tears of pain he had cried while pulling the ties that bind from his leg. How unsightly. Lo Bingha's anger disappeared from his voice without a trace. So earlier, when I heard the faint sounds of Shizen crying, that was real? He asked, tone urgent. What crying? Shen Qingqiu snapped, lashing out somewhat in embarrassment. I don't know anything about that. Crying? Never heard of her. He tried to walk right off again, but Lo Bingha hurriedly embraced him from behind, and just so managed to grab Shen Qingqiu's right arm where the ties that bind had taken root. Shen Qingqiu managed not to shriek, but he still let out a stifled groan. Lo Bingha immediately let go and led him over by the left hand to inspect him under the candlelight. The more Lo Bingha looked, the more shocked he became. Practically no place on Shen Qingqiu's body was safe to look at. He was nothing but a heap of wounds and blood, truly a spectacle too horrible to behold. Lo Bingha remembered that before he had lost consciousness, Shen Qingqiu had clearly still been in perfect condition. His voice trembled. This was all for me? Shen Qingqiu was going to spit blood. If not for Lo Bingha, then who? He couldn't say that sort of thing. He always felt awkward making a big deal about what he'd done for someone else or showing off his scars, and he only managed to wrench out 4 words. Your hand. Let go. Lo Bingha changed his expression in the blink of an eye and softened. I won't. Shizhen, don't be angry. I was wrong. He said that so many times. Shen Qingqiu waved him aside. Hurry up and go, go, go. The blind corpses are surrounding us already. Why are we still here, blocking the road? Having been waved off, Lo Bingha latched onto him again like a sticky cowhide candy, impossible to pry off. Shizhen, why don't you hit me? You can beat me up to vent your anger. Oh, girl. Help, there's a masochist over here. Someone come lock him up. Shen Qingqiu flew down the corridor, and Lo Bingha stuck to him the whole way. He was most familiar with Lo Bingha's act by now. Lo Bingha knew very well that he responded to sweetness rather than to threats. After a long while of being pestered and worn down, Shen Qingqiu said helplessly, You're always like this, crying and admitting your wrongs, but you never change. What's the point? At this point, Lo Bingha was close to sobbing. I'll change, all right? Shizhen, don't abandon me. The sight of him acting like such a good-for-nothing was such that, if Shen Qingqiu hadn't still been concerned about the bumps he had left on the back of Lo Bingha's skull, he'd have been filled with the urge to give him a few smacks on the head. There was nothing wrong with his teaching methods, was there? How had he raised such a crybaby? What would everyone say if they knew the devil incarnate, Lo Bingha, liked to hang onto his Shizhen's sleeves and wail when no one else was around? Who'd fucking believe it? Not even Ning Ying Ying cried this much. Sammy is random. Thank you for joining my membership. Thank you so much. Shen Qingqiu couldn't take it anymore. Who's abandoning you, huh? After I lost consciousness, I still retained a shred of awareness. I was fighting with all my might to wake up, Lo Bingha said. But once I finally managed to wake, I found myself lying in a coffin, and Shizhen had run off to who knows where. I snapped. I thought I'd been abandoned, and I thought Shizhen would rather run off with these two than pay attention to me. Waking up to find yourself all alone, abandoned in a coffin, that certainly wouldn't feel very good. Shen Qingqiu guiltily coughed. Just now, I didn't do that on purpose, Lo Bingha continued. I don't even know why I did it. I didn't want to, and I didn't want to say those things, but I can never control myself in front of Shizhen. I know I'm being embarrassing and unsightly, but knowing that Shizhen didn't abandon me, that he was protecting me all along, that I wasn't dreaming, I'm so happy. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is so cute. This is so cute. I love how it's like, is he being a crybaby, but he's actually just kind of being a man that is being honest with his emotions. It's like, oh, he's such a big crybaby. It's like he just admitted he missed him, you know? Exactly which of us is being embarrassing and unsightly here? 2 grown men entangled in a heap, wiping at tears and snot. We're both being embarrassing and unsightly, okay? Maybe you could just both admit that you are so happy to be together. Emmy, thank you so much for gifting a membership. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Kate says, he's honest with emotions, but he's also super pathetic about it. Yeah. I guess using words like, you abandoned me. The more I'm reading this, the more I'm starting to think you might be right, Kate. It's because it's atypical of male power fantasy protagonist. Yes. Ranwan entered the chat. Shizhen, just please spare a glance at me. Kate said that Bingha was, that I was like Bingha. Profa Colesio, thank you for your donation. Greetings from Mexico. I truly love you, beautiful queens. Sending a huge hug to the both of you. Oh, thank you so much. That is so sweet of you to say. I give you a big hug back. Thank you so, so much, all the way from Mexico. Perhaps because he was too happy, Bingha was now unable to utter any of his flowery vocabulary. He just kept repeating the words happy and glad over and over in those simple terms. Oh. Shunchingto's face twitched. Rubbing his temples, he let out a deep sigh. Whatever, it wasn't like this was the first time. Even Meng Mo had said this kid was just like this, acting all badass, darkened demon lord to your face, but who knows if he was wringing his handkerchief and crying behind your back. What use was it to hold that against him? Oh, Jay, thank you so much. Jay said congrats on your engagement. Thank you. I really appreciate that, Jay. Thank you so much. Sweet Berry, I think, hit the nail on the head. Shunchingto is scared of Bingha's emotional honesty because he doesn't know how to be honest with himself. Whew. That's good. Getting back to the point, Shunchingto himself had been ridiculous too. Getting upset over such a small misunderstanding, he was no better than this unfortunate lunatic child. How unlike a proper elder. He caught his breath for a moment. You're really alright now? Bingha immediately nodded. I'm alright. He'd had such a high fever, and now he was perfectly fine? Shunchingto was quite skeptical and pressed a hand to Bingha's forehead, but he found it cool and smooth. He tried to take his hand away, but Bingha covered it with his own, refusing to let him move, eyes shining below their folded palms. This expression was too familiar. Wasn't this that good and upright youth, that bleeding, grass-chewing little lamb who had followed Shunchingto around every day on Qingjing Peak, that small, refreshing son of a Bingha? Shunchingto's face was going to turn red under his stare, but he couldn't just tear his hand away. If he did that while Bingha was all excited and overjoyed, how would that be any different from slapping him across the face? You're really completely fine? Shunchingto asked. No dizziness? Your spiritual and demonic energy are circulating well? Quite well, said Bingha. Very well. Even better than before. As they spoke, they had reached a chamber on the east end of the mausoleum. Bingha drew his sword and slashed, and a pitch-black spatial rift appeared in the screen wall. That was so... I feel like we're in the end game now. Like, that was actually romantic. Like, that was very, very cute. Unfortunate lunatic child. That was a very, very, very sweet scene. Bingha is very romantic, and just seeing Shunchingto's like actual feelings was very romantic too. It's time to sit. Elevator stream. His broken arm had mysteriously healed itself. He was no longer limping, the blood on his face had been wiped clean, and the ever-disobedient Shinmo was docile in his hands. The protagonist was still the protagonist, as OP as ever. Shunchingto didn't want to say another word. With a let's go type of gesture, he led the way through the rift. Outside the holy mausoleum, it was a bright and sunny day. Bingha reached out to support Shunchingto unprompted. Come to think of it, it really had been a long time since they had such a normal interaction. As soon as Shunchingto had this melancholy thought, he couldn't resist shooting a glance at Bingha. Seeing him all upbeat and refreshed, it really did seem like he was quite well. Funny how Shunchingto had staked his sorry life to protect Bingha, and all that trouble slid off of him like water off a duck's back. Turned out all this time he spent snoozing away was to recharge his OP halo. Shunchingto waved goodbye to his own dignity. Bingha suddenly said, But other than hearing Shizen crying, Shenshigcho smiled faintly. Who was crying? Lo Bingha immediately changed his tone. Other than hearing someone crying, I also had this strange feeling. That's so funny. Oh my god. I love that they did that little... That's so funny. At this, Shenshigcho grew a bit worried again, so he really did have some lingering symptoms. He said quietly, "What sort of feeling?" Lo Bingha shook his head. "I can't say." "Did it hurt?" "It didn't hurt. It was very..." Before he could finish, a confused expression crossed his face, and he looked down at his lower body. Shenshigcho was silent. "Hello, Heavenly Pillar! Goodbye, Heavenly Pillar!" This conversation was halted before it could continue. Jinlin Jun's voice drifted after them like a deceased soul refusing to disperse. "Peak Lord Shen, why are you in such a hurry to leave?" Stop! Oh my god! Bingha was literally like, "Yeah, while I was asleep, oh my god! Oh my god! He was semi-aware, alright. Other than hearing someone crying, I also had this strange feeling. A strange feeling in my... Oh my god. I can't believe that that got brought up again. I couldn't help having this strange feeling that someone was touching my dick. Bingha's salmon made an appearance. And here I thought the feeling was Shizen kissing his forehead. Yeah, it could have been that until he literally looked down. Why do you have to look down? So big it's sentient. Oh my god. It didn't hurt. It was very... A confused expression crossed his face and he looked down at his lower body. "Hello, Heavenly Pillar. Goodbye, Heavenly Pillar." Oh my goodness. This conversation was halted before it could continue. Qianlin Jun's voice drifted after them like a deceased soul refusing to disperse. "Peaked Lord Shen, why are you in such a hurry to leave? The two of you have all but overturned my race's sacred land. How could you just simply walk out like this without leaving anything behind?" With every word, Qianlin Jun's voice grew much closer. Before long, he appeared within sight. The Mobi clan's ice magic, which had clung to their tomb for a millennia, had managed to delay Qianlin Jun and Zhuzhilong until Shenshigcho and Lo Bingha left the holy mausoleum. It had truly done a lot. Lo Bingha was already displeased that he had been unable to simply shatter those two into ice shards earlier, and their choice to deliver themselves to him quite suited his wishes. His knuckles cracked. He glared at Zhuzhilong, his voice taking on a dangerous tone. "You dared to feed my Shizen your blood?" As soon as Zhuzhilong saw Shenshigcho, an abashed expression crossed his face. Qianlin Jun looked at Lo Bingha, then sighed. "You can't say those words with that sort of expression. Didn't you also feed Peak Lord Shen your blood? Or does the other set of blood mites in Peak Lord Shen's body belong to someone else?" Upon hearing this, Lo Bingha froze, and his fists clenched tight. As soon as Shenshigcho began to lift the hand holding Shuya, Lo Bingha immediately said quietly, "Shizen does not need to fight. I am enough on my own." Oh my god. And they were off. 3 pillars of dark chi soared, churning into the sky like storm winds. Watching the battle as spectator, Shenshigcho was even more deeply appreciative of how demons and humans were inarguably 2 different races. The differences in the destructive potential was really too profound, and it looked like Lo Bingha had indeed just been recharging and upgrading his OP halo. A mere couple hours prior, he had been viciously beaten up, powerless to fight back, but now it looked like the protagonist halo was still solidly affixed to Lo Bingha's head after all. As Shenshigcho watched, he noticed a scarlet bone eagle circling through the air, lowering its wings and looking for an opportunity to rush into the fray. As Lo Bingha fought 1-on-2, it seemed he hadn't noticed this bone eagle that obviously harbored nefarious intentions, but Shenshigcho could see everything clearly. Just as he was about to call out a warning, that bone eagle swooped and dove at the top of Lo Bingha's head. A bone eagle? Do you think the bone eagles are friends with the bone fish? Yeah, they have bone parties. More like boner eagle. A sneak attack? Shen Qingqiu held Shuya in a reverse grip, took careful aim, and flung it at his target. The snow-white blade flew like an arrow, running the bone eagle through like a bolt of lightning. But before Shen Qingqiu could breathe a sigh of relief, he saw that the bone eagle's body didn't fall, but scattered into 1,000 upon thousands of droplets, which surged towards him. Qianlin suddenly drew back and hopped away from the battle with a laugh. As the blood droplets scattered through the air, a stricken expression flashed across Lo Binghe's face. Shen Qingqiu immediately realized that Qianlin had solidified his own blood to create this bone eagle. He had sent the bone eagle to ambush Lo Binghe, but his true intention had been to draw Shen Qingqiu into attacking and shooting it down. He was relying on their gayness to take them down. Just as Shen Qingqiu realized this, he received a downpour of bloody rain to the face. Qianlin smiled faintly. He raised his hand, then made a fist in midair. Shen Qingqiu immediately felt his heart clench, as if it were now in someone's palm, being kneaded and pinched maliciously. There was just too much blood. Though he had shut his mouth tight, he still tasted a hint of rust on his tongue. Oh god, so much blood is going in him. This is some weird kink thing, for sure. Who else guzzled heavenly demon blood like Red Bull? Who else had drunk the blood of 3 different heavenly demons? Ugh. Lo Binghe's eyes were red with panic, but Qianlin blood was inside Shen Qingqiu's body, so he didn't dare do anything rash. Afraid Qianlin would unleash the blood mites, he could only grit his teeth and yell, "Stop!" Watching Shen Qingqiu's face go green and pale in turns, Zhuji couldn't resist speaking up. "My lord, show some mercy." Qianlin shrugged. "That depends on what our other young friend will do next." 3 sets of blood mites were tearing it up in Shen Qingqiu's insides, enmeshed in open warfare. Of them, Lo Binghe's blood was concentrating on protecting Shen Qingqiu's organs and meridians, while it held a firm advantage over Zhuji blood, but it had to struggle to a stalemate with Qianlin blood at the same time. Fighting on both fronts, 1 on 2, would inevitably leave him in a serious bind. Instead, the ones who could unleash themselves to the fullest extent were Qianlin blood mites, because he had nothing to lose. "You better think this through," Qianlin said to Lo Binghe. "If we continue like this, who will be the first to falter?" The worry and helplessness in Lo Binghe's eyes grew greater and greater, but in the end, he conceded only so far as, "You stop first!" Though an elder, Qianlin possessed absolutely no awareness of the concept of humoring his juniors. Instead, he said, "You first!" "Fine," Lo Binghe instantly replied. Qianlin smile was unreadable. "He truly is." He turned to look at Zhuji. "What should I do? For some reason, when I look at them, I feel a bout of extreme displeasure." Oh my god. Zhuji silently nodded. Shen Qingqiu accepted his misfortune, but he didn't want to drag others down with him. All his life, the characters that he hated most were those who got taken hostage. If someone wanted him to become the sort of weak character who held others back, they might as well just kill him. He managed to keep this from showing on his face as he said, "This distinguished one can torment me however he wishes. As you said, after drinking it this many times, I ought to be used to it by now. But if you want Lo Binghe's body, don't even think about it. Lo Binghe, if you surrender to him, I'll crush my own skull." How romantic. "Shizen!" Lo Binghe yelled, furious and helpless. "Shut your mouth!" Shen Qingqiu snapped back. "Who said I wanted his body?" Qianlin asked, mystified. Shen Qingqiu was speechless. "He's not as handsome as I am," Qianlin continued. "Why would I want his body?" Oh my god. Shen Qingqiu had no words. "Who said you were more handsome than him? Who gave you the license?" Great Master Airplane shooting towards the sky personally confirmed that Lo Binghe is unparalleled throughout the ages, across the 3 realms and the heavens and the earth, envied by men and admired by women, beloved by the young and the old alike, that he's this novel's #1 hotcake, who could shock all of existence and make gods and ghosts alike sob over his beauty, okay? Shen Qingqiu's face grew dark with concentration. "Then what exactly do you want?" "My lord wants that sword," Zhuji replied for him. "That's right," Qianlin said. "I'm going to give the human realm a present, but I can't do it without that sword." He wanted the protagonist's golden finger? Shen Qingqiu's internal monologue was filled with a barrage of, "Ha ha, you wish! Who do you think you are? You won't even know how you died!" And the like. Only to see Lo Binghe raise his arm, then Zhuji raise his. In an instant, the exchange was complete. swift and decisive, without a moment of hesitation. "Hand him over," said Lo Bingha. Zhuji swiftly transformed into serpent form and snatched Shen Qingqiu up into his mouth. Qinlin leapt astride him and laughed out loud. "You really believed me? Ha 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 ha!" What? He just... The fact that it's just, oh, transformed into a snake and put him in his mouth. But also, Bingha did not hesitate. He immediately handed over his sword. Like, oh my god. Shen Qingqiu just got vored. Ugh. This really was too shameless, just like a grown adult making a pinky promise in order to con something out of a little kid's hands, then turning around and refusing to follow through. Shen Qingqiu felt a sense of injustice on Lo Bingha's behalf for the bullying. And, even surrounded by Zhuji fangs, blurted out an accusation. "Don't you know you're his elder?" "I only know that I am a demon," Qinlin said, in a gentlemanly tone from his perch atop Zhuji head. Peak Lord Shen must have spent 2 long lifetimes among humans and forgotten that our race never cared for keeping our promises. Of course, most of the time, your kind only keeps up appearances as well. With those last few words, the smile faded from Qinlin lips. Shen Qingqiu's vision went dark, and something bright red and striking hot enveloped him from all sides like a sack. Zhuji had swallowed him. What? I was not expecting that. Are you kidding me? Okay, that's the end of the chapter. He got vored. It's definitely a kink of some kind. Get bored, idiot. Just a light snack. Nom nom. Empire's Prince. Yay? Snake snack. Congrats on the engagement. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much, guys. Meanwhile, Shen Qingqiu just made Qinlin dared to say he's prettier than Lo Bingha. Yes! This, oh my god, this was a crazy chapter. Oh my goodness. It gets even more W2F. All I know is there is a scene where there's like, where all of them are like in a bed together or something, right? Zhuji has been fantasizing about doing that for ages. Oh my god. Next chapter gets crazier. Oh god. Oh right, that. Next chapter is so funny. There's a scene where they are in the bed. Oh, brother. Bean says, "Kickter, I just left the Renaissance Fair. I was Pirate Hua Chung. I'm so cold. I can't wait to listen to the stream later." Oh, I hope you can warm up. That sounds like a lot of fun. Jessica says, "Thank you for story time." Oh, you're welcome. Yes, I'll just be reading that chapter for today. But perhaps sometime during the week I can do the next chapter. Because I'm back. There's no giant hiatus anymore. We've finally moved into our new place and we can get back to our regular streaming schedule. Tonight I've got to finish the book club video for the Disabled Tyrant's Beloved Pet Fish, so you'll probably wake up to that upload tomorrow. And if you guys haven't seen it already, please do go check out our most recent TikTok video. Reacting to the TGCF TikToks. Night Owl says, "I think the hiatus was justified though. Bought a house. Got a fiance." If you Google Chu Wanning, Stitch is in the top 10 image search results. Oh my god. No way. Holy shit, she is. That's incredible. Also, you guys are not ready for our new Arha cosplay pictures. We look better than ever. I went to another country. Yeah. Got to meet some kickflips. Could you do the next Scum stream on Thursday? I will have to look at my schedule and figure it out. And I will probably post tomorrow what the stream schedule will be. Munaria has been a member for 2 months. Thank you so much. Hi, Kictor. I just wanted to say congrats on your engagement, and I'm so happy for you guys. Oh, thank you. That is so sweet of you. I really appreciate it. Can't wait for some cause photos. Yeah. Hey, if I finish the book club video tonight, maybe I could even edit some photos. We also took some video of some slow motion cinematic video cosplay video being Ranwan. Arha themed marriage photos. Hey, that's pretty much Kenzie and Briarbox got engaged as Ranwan. Kate says, me having a Mandela effect thinking you already did the Fish Book 4 book club. I know, we're so behind on the book club videos. I'm so behind on the book club videos. Stitch has all the PowerPoints ready, so we'll probably film the oh my god, what Legend of Exorcism one tomorrow. I'm not finished the case file PowerPoint yet, so I gotta finish that before we can do the Arha one. But it's coming. It's working. We're working hard every day. Oh, sweet berry. I'm sorry that you got tricked, but we couldn't help it. All right, you guys, I'm going to go eat some stew, calm my throat, and get back to some editing. But thank you guys for making the read through so much fun. I can't believe this ridiculous story. It's so funny though. It's so much fun. I love getting to read it live with you guys. It really makes it even funnier. So thank you guys for just being so much fun and supporting me. And Night Owl says, you look more relaxed in your new studio. Thank you. I am so relaxed. I have so much extra space. There's a fan that's on. It's completely silent. There's a window right here for fresh air. Like, it really is so nice compared to like the cramped little office I was in before. And I can make the desk stand. I was so comfortable because like standing was so much fun. And then when I got tired, I could sit, and then I felt more refreshed sitting. It really is just awesome. Wei Wuxian's wig says, tell Stitch we saw her at one point. I will. Stitch, they saw you at one point. Oh no. She said, oh no. Floor stream when? Well, we're gonna set up some stuff so we can do some kitchen streams, especially for the members. And we also have a really nice little library area. That might be a new little like filming corner. But yeah. Awesome. Okay, I will see you guys sometime this week, but you'll probably see a new video from me tomorrow. Okay, bye-bye!